So I have received a lot of requests lately from y'all to do a new Tepid takes video, so that's what we're doing today. If this is your first time to my channel, Tepid takes are, well, they're like hot takes, except they're tepid because most of the time I just end up buying things. There's not a lot of deliberation on this end. If I think that it's worth reviewing, I just buy it. This is not a hobbyist's makeup collection. This is very much just like an archive, you know? That's the mindset that I'm going into this with, and I have to say, going through trend mood, like, it's been a minute since I've done one of these videos because it's pretty underwhelming. Like, what's happening right now, at least, I shouldn't say it's like overall underwhelming, it just doesn't like spark joy from me, a lot of it. And so, you know, the things that I do find myself getting excited about haven't been released yet. We'll talk about all of that stuff, but I just wanted to say, like, if overall this feels a little even more tepid than usual, it's not your imagination. I feel like the releases themselves are a little tepid so far this year. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the main thing I'm noticing is a lot of vividness and saturation and like bright oranges and pinks and purples. So while that's kind of a spring, summer color palette, the saturation value speaks more to brands trying to cater to deeper skin tones than mine, which has, you know, is twofold. One, it's fantastic. For very, very, very long, we were scrolling through this and there were just, you know, beige and pink and light brown palettes for the longest time. And there just was not as much out there for like medium and deep skin tones to even just like have options. So that's good. But it also explains why I'm not interested in a lot of this stuff, because I lately have been in a mood of things being a little lower contrast on my skin. I just kind of want to stay closer to my skin tone in my happy little comfort zone, and that's just not really what's happening right now. That's all. Let's start right here at the top. Dior has come out with new lipstick cases and lipsticks. These are all very pink. Even the ones that I'm seeing that look like they have a little bit of a touch of something mauve to them, in the bullet, when you see the swatches, they're all extremely pink. I have a like neutral undertone that leans a little bit yellow. My skin likes to kind of cancel out the little bit of purple in something. So if I want something that is going to be a little grungier on me, I do have to lean further into the cool territory so that it kind of balances out against my skin's, and especially my lips, natural tendency to make things appear more pink. And so these just aren't for me. It's really interesting actually how pink they look on the skin, because when you look at the bullets themselves, they look really like pale and desaturated, and then on the skin they're just like, there's pink. I'm sure that they're wildly expensive, and it's not that I have anything against Dior's formulas. They're lovely in my experience for the most part, but this doesn't apply to me. Clé de Peau, a brand that I've never tried and haven't obviously tested on my channel. They have come out with a bunch of stuff, but what, you know, my eye is drawn to here is this Cream Rouge Sparkles liquid lipstick for $50 for a clear lip gloss. I love spending too much money on something. It is just, I mean, I don't actually love it. I'm just kind of joking around that, you know, I am kind of notorious for saying like, well, is it really that great? Most of the time it's not, but like I need to know. There's like this deep part of me that needs to know. And while I'm looking at these saying, oh, the colors are pretty, and the main thing that draws my eye is actually like these very nuanced clear glitter ones. You know, they have 4 of them that all are like either clear or sheer base, and then they have like different shifts on the glitters. Guess what I have? I have a bunch of those from Pat McGrath. And as a way of kind of assuaging any other urges I might have had to that effect, today I went ahead and put this on, which is Amber Sparkles Amber Sparkle Lip Gloss from Anastasia. It's not like the cheapest thing in the world, but it's not $50, and it's the sparkliest lip gloss I've ever had and used, and I love it every time I put it on. And I have like Pale Fire Nectar, I have some other ones that do this, and I don't need this, and I also don't need to review it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I obviously don't need makeup at all, but I don't need to review this because I just genuinely don't think that there are like that many people who are like champing at the bit for a $50 lip gloss that does, in essence, you know, what we have already seen from an $18 lip gloss from Pat McGrath. And I say $18 because that's what I pay for them, because they're always on sale. I I didn't know how my sound on. Made by Mitchell. This is a creator, I want to say, and he has made this Blursh book, and it is quite vivid again. So, like, I'm all here. I'm all here for the stuff existing, and it's right to exist. It just doesn't apply to me. Okay, I do want to chat briefly about this because this is like a layup, right? A layup of a criticism. So the new MAC Studio Fix Everywhere all over face pen. This is one of the biggest self-owns in a shade range I have ever seen. The worst one before this, I'll put it on the screen, was the Bobbi Brown concealer that came out where it was literally just like white, 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 0.33, repeating of course. So this is very similar, and we have 33 shades here, but like it doesn't take a color theory genius to look at this and say, like the palest model, all of those would probably work on their skin. The medium model, all of those swatches would probably work on their skin. And the black girl, come on! What has she got? 3 shades that'll work on her, and then 2 just kind of like really deep shades, maybe 3, you know, very deep shades that, you know, so they can't accuse them of not considering it at all. But like MAC has always been really good about their shade ranges, and this is just so uncharacteristic of them. And a lot of people in the comments, I don't know, Trend Mood comments are just an absolute free-for-all of self-owns. Like it's these people being like, they should be grateful they get anything. And it's like, who should be what? Federal prison. But the comments have been saying like, it's in Europe. And someone said like, do you know that there are also dark-skinned people in Europe? Did you know that, Mary? The main thing for me is that excuse, it cracks me up because, and it cracks me up in like a dark humor kind of way, because when you're talking about there being like a smaller population, ostensibly, this is if it were even true, a smaller population of like deep-skinned people in a certain area of the world, that doesn't mean that you make fewer shades for them. It means that you make all the shades and you just make less inventory of those shades, ostensibly, hypothetically, you know? And the idea that because there are fewer people of a certain shade range, that we're only gonna make a handful, so they get to just like pick from things that have just as little likelihood of matching them as anything else. If there are fewer buyers, they still have specific skin tones that they need, and that's literally, I should reiterate, not the case. It's still not the case. It's still not the case that there are fewer buyers. To quote Nima Tang, you can't buy makeup that doesn't exist. So anyway, I don't know. I'm not trying to get sanctimonious. Like I said, it's a layup. It's such like an obvious thing that needs to be called out, and it's like, it's almost like incontrovertible. You look at it and you're just like, that's silly. That's silly. So, MAC, do better. I'm not gonna be buying that. Imprintu! This is by LG. LG is getting into the beauty space, apparently, by making, it's like a temporary tattoo printer. Okay, cool. I think that's cool. I mean, it's probably gonna be really expensive. I like that they're doing it first in South Korea and the US. Like that says a lot about who they think that their clientele is for this. You know, it's just like, y'all seem fun. Yeah, it takes 2 to 3 seconds to make ready to print tattoos. Sounds like a fun activity with your kids. I'm not sure that like that's, I mean, it's fine. It depends on how much it is. If it's like under $100, fun. Like if it's like $300, who's it for? We are in color corrector hell. I mean, I'm glad that there are so many options out there for people who need color correctors. Some's good, more is better, but like, don't let this trick you into thinking that suddenly you're a color corrector person if you don't ever need one. Like I've used them under my eyes occasionally, but if you don't have redness and you don't have hyperpigmentation, if you have like deep skin or something, like don't be tricked into buying an extra step in your routine that you don't need. Sesame Street by Wet n Wild. You know, if I had a little like makeup wearing child, yes, but not for me to review. I'm just not kind of like a Wet n Wild person, although, you know, let it be known that I'll buy my child anything Sesame Street that he wants, so. This caught my eye because it's one of the first things that I've seen that's in these like neutral tones that I have been, you know, gravitating towards lately, like in this feed that I've seen in a while. But unfortunately it's a Tom Ford quad, and I just gave away all my Tom Ford quads because I am underwhelmed with the performance for the money, and they've gone up $1, so they're $90 now. This is very pretty in concept, but it doesn't really do much for me in terms of like solving any kind of problem. You know, I still think that I would have to pull something else out. The main color that I like, actually the two on the left I really like. I think that the bottom right one is still gonna be too sooty for me. And that top right one is, it's like kind of too yellow gold. So I am kind of drawn to that Dominique Cosmetics one, but not enough to buy it. And these lipsticks, I have never, they are just the most squarely in the middle of like basic pink red that I've ever seen, which is like the opposite of what I would typically use, you know? So because it just doesn't look very good on me. It goes very clowny on me. So yeah, that's a very easy pass. Now this Guerlain Terracotta Latin, it is 95% natural origin, perfection of a foundation, the lightness and radiance of a powder. Long wearing for 24 hours without transfer, light texture, airy formula coverage, medium to full in 30 shades. I'm sure it's got the Guerlain fragrance, which is a little wild for me, but it does look like I could wear 0.5N pretty well, or even 0N. Nah, it doesn't even look a little bit light. I do like, while yes, there are more light shades than there are deep shades, the spacing of the deep shades looks intuitive to me. It's like a true neutral, a true golden warm, a true neutral, a true golden warm. Now, there are no olives in here. I mean, follow Dior's lead. Like I said, it's not that you need to make an abundance of them, but you just make the shades and just make less of them, you know? So anyway, I do like how neutral the neutrals are. They almost look kind of blushy, and the cools aren't like so outrageously peach. But yeah, I think that I could probably get away with either 0.5N or 0.5W. I would need to swatch it in store though, because like I'm not getting a very good like scale reference of whether that's going to be wildly light and just match my undertones, or whether it would be right on the nose. So yeah, especially for something full coverage, you really want to nail it. So if I get a chance to go in store and check that out, I might do it. I might do that and just see, because yes, it is supposed to be a long wearing foundation that I think probably has, you know, not a particularly like glowy finish. It does say that it's radiant. So I don't know. Could be kind of cool. I think I might be the only creator who did not receive this Urban Decay Naked by Smiley palette, the little mini palettes, and like that's fine. I won't be buying it to try it. I know I like their formulas, so you know, it's not necessarily a candidate for a review. Boy, is this tepid. We are just tepiding all over the place, aren't we? So the Kiko Milano, this is like the first thing on here I've been excited about. I like the packaging and I like the colors. Now, do we have anything for deep skin tones? No, we do not. Holy potatoes, this is a huge collection. Yeah, they do all, I think that that's why I'm drawn to this, is because it's so pale. It's so desaturated. Like I like the blush palette, I like the bronzer, I like the eyeshadow palettes. Like all of those things would look lovely on me, but they also would look very ashy on most people. So that's probably why I'm drawn to them. Caliray has, I feel terrible for saying this, but like they've never ever done more than just whelm me. I'm just whelmed. Like they make a lip gloss, they make an eyeliner, they make a foundation that doesn't have a shade for me. I don't really know. Like it all feels pretty half-baked, and they've come out with light radiant glow highlighter, and neither of them is light enough for me. I'm just like scrolling past all the character makeup and stuff. Someone did ask me to do like a Glossier what's worth it and what's not now that they're at Sephora. I think that I'll probably have that as my next video, just as a touch point. We haven't talked about Glossier in a while, have we? What is that? Revealed the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation from Laura Mercier, a weightless foundation that blurs the line between makeup and skin with medium buildable coverage, natural finish, waterproof wear, and up to 12 hours of fade proof wear, $48, 30 shades. These shades look really, what's the word? Saturated for what they are. Like, why are the fairest shades still like, they look like pastel nail polish colors? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't see any of those. Maybe they're just photoshopped and like that's what's weird about them, because they're like perfect squares. They're not like in the shape of the contours of someone's arm. I shouldn't say squares, they're rectangles. But I mean, the way that I'm looking at these, most of these aren't skin tones, especially the light ones. The deep ones, I'm not an expert, but like, I think that those exist in the world as skin tones, but it's these really fair ones that they really just look like someone, I don't know, it's like when KKW, like the makeup line, first tried to make bronzers and contours for fair skin. They just like watered down their original colors, I felt like, and so everything was just kind of like a, I don't know, like a light orange instead of having any kind of nuance to it or kind of desaturation. And these are so on the nose. Like, I just cannot believe how like bright lemon yellow like satin is, and like Cool Vanilla and Silk are both powder pink, color cancellation pink. Soft Sand, I mean to tell you, no one's skin is that color. Toffee, no one's skin is that color. Cashew, no one's skin is that color. Like, that's not a color on earth for someone's skin. I'm terribly sorry. I'm probably wrong. I'm being hyperbolic, but like these are just really off the wall in terms of the shades that they chose, which is just so strange because like Laura Mercier is a very experienced company. It's not like they're new. You know, I could give like HAUS Labs a pass because their foundation range, like the shade range, I have heard good reviews from people on it and that they like it, but in absolutely no shade whatsoever, I have yet to see a really killer shade match on anyone, even if they liked it. They're just weird. So that's how I feel about this. This is a really, really weird shade range. Like, I don't see myself buying this just because I don't see any shades that like in my skin tone that look like a human's skin tone. Okay, and Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Bronzer. Now, I have had a few messages from people, and I always appreciate that there are new people, and you know, obviously, like, that's great. And so they're probably not completely like worn out on my annoyed rant of how disappointing the tinted moisturizer blushes were, because of course I think that like Laura Mercier kind of hung the moon on tinted moisturizers, and so my expectations were really, really high on the blushes, so I bought 3 of them, and they're notoriously difficult to use. They dry down too quickly and they're patchy, and there are just so many really beautiful formulas out there that work really well. It's a shame because they come in really, really beautiful colors, and I really wanted them to work, and I just couldn't make it happen. And that's why I'm not going to be picking up the bronzers, because I assume it's just an iteration on the same formula, which is, it's just kind of, I don't know. I guess that like people outside the beauty influencer space are probably, you know, enjoying it enough that they felt like they could iterate on the formula and people would buy it. But is at least what I have seen from people I watch, nobody liked it. This, I have to say, the eyeshadow quad lipstick and lipstick cases that are coming out from Guerlain, I get it. They're different because it's blue and purple and yellow and then, you know, a brown. This hurts my eyes. It's just not my taste. And I'm a maximalist, but it just hurts my eyes. Like packaging, I mean. And, you know, the colors, I have no use for those. I do know how the Guerlain formula performs, and they are very like wet to dry feeling, like they're very baked almost. And so when you like rub your finger on them, they have almost this like, you almost like have to break the surface of them. They feel almost like they're hard panned, but they go on really smoothly. It's a lovely formula, but it's very expensive, and I am very confused by that color story. I think it's like a conceptual color story and not very practical. Like, I don't know anybody that's going and putting like yellow and purple on their eyes at the same time, because those are opposites. So you're gonna end up with mud. Ooh, what is that? I know it's all matte, and I'm not excited about mattes, but okay, here's the thing. We have cool matte obsessions and warm matte obsessions from HUDA. The thing with HUDA's formulas is, even though they look really desaturated in the pan, they usually aren't. And I find that they actually have just as much trouble as like Natasha Denona shadows, like really shearing out. And I have had 2 of her palettes that I have actually gotten rid of. But I got rid of Mercury Retrograde because the shimmers were not good. But I had the khaki one. It was pretty, but they're so pigmented that I just had a hard time working with them. And like, that's great. It's good for other people. And I think it's also cool to have something that's like cool toned and have that much nuance and that much grunge to those colors, but to have them be such pigmented formulas. Like that means that someone with a medium or deep skin tone can still wear a nuanced shade because there's a difference between saturation and pigment, you know? Like it's got a lot of pigment in it even though the color is desaturated. Okay, this is the one thing that like I am sitting here finger on the buzzer just waiting for are these Armani Luminous Silk Glow blushes, because there are like 2 or 3 of them that I would wear. The lightest one, well, the lightest 2, and then possibly the kind of like mauvey one. I'm not sure. It depends on like how pigmented they are, because that top right one that's kind of, you know, apricot orange would also thrill me. It depends on how much I like the formula, but I think that I would definitely or will definitely pick up the fairest pink and the fairest kind of like peach because they look great. And I've never had any blushes from Armani, and that excites me. This also excites me. This is the LYS eyeshadow palette. They put 2 out, and one of them is much more kind of adventurous and a little bit like deeper. And then the, you know, the one that's a little bit more skin tone native, you know, we're in the kind of pinks and browns of it all. That's the one that appeals to me, and it's only $18 on QVC. I tried to buy it yesterday, but QVC was being really finicky and like wouldn't let me sign in, and then it told me I needed to call their customer service, which if you know anything about millennials, we don't call people. We just don't. I didn't end up buying it, but like if it comes to Sephora, I will, or if it's on their website, I will. I think it's a QVC exclusive or something. It's just very strange. I did already buy the HAUS Labs blushes. Y'all got to see that, but I do think that, you know, for as on the nose as they look online, they are sheerer than that, but they are still pretty darn saturated. It's almost like they associate the vividness of the pigment with luxury, and they don't want it to be too unpigmented or desaturated because they don't want it to be mistaken for not being luxurious. And it's just it's not always the same thing. They're not always one and the same, but I get their approach. You know, Simbri and I in New York City were talking, we were walking through Sephora and we're smelling stuff and looking at stuff, and we're just baffled, I guess, by this return of liquid lipsticks, because who liked them besides like Zoe Sugg and maybe, you know, Jaclyn Hill? I guess someone did. And during like mask wearing life, I get it. You know, if you wanted to wear something and it not come off on your mask, that's cool. But like, man, we are really back in it. We are really back in it. Like I have lip filler and I still think that liquid lipsticks look really silly on me. I think though, it's, if you want to like talk about color seasons, which is kind of one of those, you know, sensations on the internet right now, I am very much a like medium contrast person. There, you know, that's one of the things that's like denotes, like if you're a bright summer or whatever, like you're gonna have like high contrast. You're gonna have, I think that's it. And then there's like, you know, the dark winters and stuff like that. Like they have like just big contrast between their features. You'll be able to really see like their hair against their skin, or their eyebrows or their eye color against their skin, or like bright lips or whatever. And I'm just very medium contrast. And so I think that like anything that is that bold on my lips gives high contrast and just steals all the attention away from the rest of my face. And that's probably why I don't like them. So please take my opinion with like an entire block of salt, because, you know, there is something to be said for something being really beautifully long wearing. It just doesn't work for me because flat color on me doesn't work. So Lisa Eldridge, I have to admit, like I am stupidly excited about some of her new lip glosses, mainly the sparkly ones, for the exact same reason that I was excited about the Clé de Peau ones, except that I know that I like the Lisa Eldridge lip gloss formula. It's really lightweight. And the colors I feel like are, you know, it's like the right amount of color for like a dramatic look, but they're a lot more comfortable than like any, you know, a typical lipstick or something. She's never done like anything, you know, sheer and sparkly before, and these just look fun. They just look fun, and I want to try them. So Milk Makeup has come out with contour sticks, and they took this as an opportunity to send out these incredible vaults of all of their cheek sticks, and I've obviously been having my way with them lately. But I tried the contour stick in the fairest shade and it looked like dirt on me. Like the treacherous thing that we all fear when we're talking about contour. Like the reason people don't contour is because they're scared that it's gonna look like a big stripe of dirt on their face. Uh-oh. Yeah, I applied this just with a brush. Like I, you know, put as much on my brush as I typically would with like my for example. Oh boy. It really looked like dirt. So I need to like work with it a little bit more, but like I watched Lauren May use it and she, God bless her, trusted it enough to like draw it directly on her face. And she was having a little bit of anxiety about it initially too. She was like, okay, okay, like, because it's just really dark and really gray. And so it does kind of look a little bit muddy. So I am gonna keep trying it and let y'all know, but I do have it in my hands. Hermes has put out the Plein Air, or Plein Air maybe? I'd say Plein because I lived in Amsterdam and that's just the word. But like, you know, everything is something Plein. But this is probably Plein because French. Air Healthy Glow Mineral Powder. It's a mineral powder. Wait, what? They look like bronzers. Neat. Ooh, wait, that's kind of cool. Are they supposed to, because one of them looks like a blush. So what are they? They're so pretty. And like, yeah, I was real disappointed with the Plein Air foundation because it was just, I mean, it was nothing to write home about, friends. But that is just, ooh. I know that it would give me the like spark joy moment when I used it because it's just so darn pretty. But I'm confused as to what it is supposed to do. It's like a setting powder? Then why is it pink? I want to know more. Okay, yeah, I've scrolled down far enough that I have arrived at Isamaya's most recent release, which y'all know I'm not really like eager to be spending money on Isamaya's stuff right now. This sealed the deal on me, really. Not like I was a tiny bit afraid that I, you know, would find the next collection something, you know, so irresistible. Like if it was going to be something really personal and like tantalizing. Well, she solved that, didn't she? She put out phalluses. They are lipsticks that are phalluses. I saw one comment that said, okay, can you make something for lesbians, please? I was just like, why? Like, do we not have enough male energy in the world? I don't hate men. I don't hate men. I do think that like, though, we've got enough chicks in the world. And we didn't need our lipsticks to look like them. And it was an oversight to not have them vibrate. I mean, if you're gonna do it, you know? Especially for $90 damn dollars, $100, $95. They should have vibrated. Charlotte Tilbury's got 2 new hypnotizing pop shots that, you know, they're pretty, but I'm not impressed enough with those, even though they do kind of live top of mind for me in terms of just, you know, something exciting to, you know, pop on the lid on top of something else. Still, they're wildly expensive and they are one eyeshadow and they don't have a ton of wear time unless you like, you know, do the extra work. On their own, they don't have a ton of wear time, so I've just not been like crazy impressed with them. Revolution Beauty has the IRL Filter Finish Soft Matte Concealer. While I am absolutely sure that this is a knockoff of someone else's product, I will say back in the day, I lived by their concealer. I loved their concealer. The thing was, it was like $10 or maybe even less than that, but there was so little in the package, I just burned through them and I was like, the math's not mathing. I stopped using it because I was like, this is clearly just less product for less money. So either way, a soft matte concealer doesn't really interest me, but I did like their formula. What are these? These Bobbi Brown brightening blushes. I mean, I say new, well, yeah, this was a month ago, but either way, 3-in-1 blush palette with sparkling shimmer finish and 3 blush colors that provide a natural and sophisticated luster like pearls in one palette. While making the skin look brighter, it has a glossy finish that shines. What does it look like on the skin? You're not gonna show me. There are no swatches. Okay, that's just like someone took a picture of a piece of paper like that, or like their computer screen. Like that's just very strange looking. Either way, this doesn't interest me. I don't need a shimmering blush. I try and get away from those things. Oh, Hindash, your color fluids are so beautiful. By the way, I just used this today for the first time. I just got this in the mail. This is his Hero line. Holy crap, y'all, I can do liquid eyeliner. Look at it, look at it. Wow, wow. I need a brown. I do need a brown. specifically, but this is the easiest liquid eyeliner I've ever used because the point is wildly precise. I mean, it is so precise. So yeah, when it comes to liquid eyeliner, if you're a liquid eyeliner person, you must try Hero Line, because if I can do it, Tom Fjords has put out the Traceless Soft Matte Concealer. I do like my soft matte, traceless, whatever it is, foundation, but I use it as a concealer. It's just quite like dewy and hydrating and doesn't super like have a self-setting quality to it. And so it's just not something I want to put all over my entire face. KDD has their Good Apple Serum Foundation. This just kind of, I don't like to be that person who's like so cynical about the fact that like a brand has one product that works for them and so they keep iterating on that name so that it kind of catches headlines. I just consider that to be like intelligent branding. I mean, granted, they've taken Naked too far. Urban Decay's taken Naked a little too far, but that's just by my taste. I'm not gonna actually shade them for it. It's just like, I just think that maybe some of their stuff is no longer like Naked. It's not anybody's Naked colors. All that to say, I don't think that there's anything wrong with, you know, taking Good Apple and putting it someplace else. The shade range is dynamic. I think it's matte. Full coverage, natural finish. Natural finish is the new matte, let's be real. Like, that's just what they're calling everything now because people are scared of matte and they're scared of dewy, so they're like, natural? I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think it's a bad release. They did reach out and say they were gonna send me some stuff, and I wonder if they're going to. A lot of times brands say that they're going to and then they just don't. We're doing this again. So we have this new Duet Style 2-in-1 Hot Air Styler from GHD. GHD stands for Good Hair Day. I do like a GHD, but I don't think that they're quite worth the money. I've definitely had ones that work just as well for a lot less, and GHD is pretty expensive. It says the first 2-in-1, is it the first 2-in-1 hot air styler for sleek, smooth, and glossy results with no damage. Transform hair from wet to styled. When has that ever worked? Unless it's like Dyson, you know, it's still like a blow dryer. Air fusion technology with 4 smart heated styling plates. No, 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 no! We don't put hot styling plates on wet hair. It says, you know, how to use. Make sure your hair is towel dried before use. So still wet, fam. Turn on your Duet Style, you'll hear the fan. It heats up to the optimal low styling temperature for wet hair. So GHD does claim to have a technology that senses the porosity of your hair 100 times a second or something and adjusts the heat accordingly. I also find they burn out really fast because of that, but GHD does claim that that's like something that's unique about their technology. So I could see them, you know, wanting to do something like this, but it says divide your hair into 2-inch sections no larger than the width of the plates. Take a section of hair, start from the roots, pausing for 3 seconds and glide down the hair towards the end. Slowly repeat until dry and move on to the next section. Once all your hair is completely dried, for an optimal boost of shine, activate the shine shot only on dry hair. The fan will stop and the plate temperature will increase. Now it can be used as a regular flat iron. So it is a blow dryer that pinches your hair, and then the flat iron plates turn on. So it's just a flat iron and a blow dryer, and they don't work at the same time is my assessment. So I wanted to know more. So I went on the Derm Store website and I watched a video. It still doesn't make it particularly clear whether the heating plates are actually on while it's drying the hair. But then this little bullet point of a key benefit says air fusion technology combines state-of-the-art internal aerodynamics with 4 smart heated styling plates to efficiently dry and style hair simultaneously. To me, that sounds like they're at a very low heat, but they're on. And then when the hair is dry, that's when it switches to, you know, 300 and God knows what, you know, the temperature that is required to straighten. Like, this is definitely for people with difficult hair to straighten, you know, with like 4C hair or something. Like, I would not put this on my hair. No, it just doesn't require that amount of heavy lifting. But I also know that like people who do have very kinky curly hair, there are just measures that have to be taken to take into account the sensitivity and like the fragility of that hair, just because it's difficult to straighten out because it's like very strongly curly does not inherently mean that it is like more resilient. Usually it's actually like, I don't know, it requires extra care. And I don't know, it feels like they need to like specify who this is for, because when I was a hairstylist, I remember there were these ones that, you know, were literally like dry stylers, where it was like a flat iron that you could use, they recommended, a horrible idea, that you use on wet hair. And I saw people just literally ruin their hair in a matter of weeks with it. You know, it was just like went from virgin gorgeous hair to like just an absolutely irreparable nightmare with one tool in a very short amount of time. And I just think that like the concentration of heat on the surface of hair when it is wet at all, like regardless, I don't know, I guess if it's like really, really low temperature, but I mean, that just sounds like it's going to boil your hair, you know, and dry it out. Like, I'd be curious in theory to test it, but like, this is not meant for my hair. Kinky curly folks, let me know. But I kind of wonder if this is an intelligent way to approach styling the hair. Like, does this solve a problem? Or is it like a $400 very, very bad idea for you? Natasha Denona has put out this, like, I think we're into Valentine's here. So Valentine's collection of 5 eyeshadows, a blush, and a highlighter. I've never been into like full face palettes. It's just never been my thing. And it's just, I mean, nothing could appeal to me less. No offense. Y'all notice I'm not talking about any skincare. It's really hard to get me excited about like a new skincare release from like KKW, you know, Skin by Kim. I'm also not that into nail polishes. And now I think that we are basically back into everything that I've already like talked about. Yeah. Oh, I will say, like, the only thing, I'm not gonna buy it, but like I did find the collection that Milani's putting out that's like based on the Luminoso blush. That was a smart move. That's a smart move, and they did a good job. That's a pretty palette. Y'all, I don't think I spent any mental doll hairs today, except for the Armani blushes, which that's still some mental doll hairs. Let's be honest, those are gonna be plenty of doll hairs. But yeah, I don't want to like make y'all think that I'm not excited about what's happening right now in beauty. It just doesn't apply to me right now, and there's something really like fantastic about that. That doesn't mean I don't think these things are interesting. It's just like, I don't think I'm the appropriate person to review them. Does that make sense? I like that we're seeing some innovation. It's just, you know, I'm gonna kind of stay tucked away in my lane, I guess, you know, color-wise for now, because a lot of this stuff just, it's for someone else. But if there is anything coming out that you are just absolutely, you know, dying to see me review, definitely let me know in the comments, because that matters to me very much. Like, that's what I am, is like technically, you know, I'm providing a service here. So it matters that y'all are seeing what you want to see from me. So let me know, and I hope that this was fun / enjoyable, and maybe like a nice palette cleanser for y'all in case you're also looking at things and being like, I can't, I'm not getting up for any of this, you know? Or vice versa. Like, maybe I helped cleanse your palette because you were excited about some of them and you're like, oh, actually, you know, maybe that's not gonna work for me, or maybe it will, or whatever. Either way, if you liked it, do give it a thumbs up, please. And if you're new here and you enjoyed this, consider subscribing while you're here. If you want kind of a tighter knit community and some vlogs and some extra content and stuff, I am on Patreon. So I'll leave that linked down below. And I also sell my art. So that's on Instagram. I'll leave that linked as well. I will stick a video right here that I think that you will enjoy if you liked this one. And I love you all so much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!